Okay, today we're going to kind of focus our attention more away from just kind of the overall idea of sequences and focus in on arithmetic sequences. Okay? On page 223 of your student journal, you'll see some different terms up here. Arithmetic sequence, common difference, arithmetic series, and then some different rules that we'll follow. If you remember back to algebra, the nth term of any arithmetic sequence can be found if you know a sub 1 and you know the difference. You can write out an equation using a sub n is equal to a sub 1, the first term, plus n minus 1 times d. For an example, if the first term was 3 and the difference was 2, you could write out this equation and then simplify it by distributing and then combining like terms to get a sub n is equal to 2n plus 1. You have some experience with arithmetic sequences. We did that yesterday. You did this back in algebra, even if you don't remember. So like when I said, hey, we're going to cover sequences, for those of you who remembered algebra and you had great happy feelings or very sad feelings, you at least had some kind of feelings, and hopefully they were good, and that's what you did back then. Okay? You talked about two sequences, two different types, arithmetic and geometric. Okay, geometric is multiplying, it's your exponential. Arithmetic is using your linear sequence. So your graph of an arithmetic sequence would be a what? It would be a line. Now remember, sequences they are discrete data. Therefore, you don't connect the dots. But you would have a straight line. Okay, it would be a linear representation. All right? Now, just like we had yesterday, we had some special formulas of special sequences and series. The sum of a finite series. That means, remind your neighbor what a finite means. Okay, a finite series. The sum of a finite series, a series that ends, okay, the sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic series is equal to n times a plus 1, or a sub 1 plus a sub n all over 2. All right, so you would need, in order to figure out the sum, you would need to know a couple things. What are the two items you need to know in order to figure out the sum?
First term.
Yeah, Matt, what's one? You need to know your first term for sure. The last term would help you to figure out what? We need to know a sub n, or a sub 1. We also need to know n. How many terms? If there are 10 terms, then n is 10. And we're figuring out a sub 10. Or we'd have to know a sub 10. So I guess technically we would need to know the last term as well. Yeah, good point. Okay? So 3 different things we need to know there. All right. If we know n, we should know a sub n. Or at least we'd know a sub 10. We'd be able to calculate that. Or if we know this, we should be able to calculate that. Okay? As long as we have 2 of the 3, we should be able to calculate the other. Okay. Very good. We're going to use this formula a lot today. Let's go ahead and try some. Take a look at page 224. Tell whether the sequence is arithmetic and explain your reasoning. You got 1 through 4 there. Give it a go. Work together. All right. If you haven't already shared with your neighbor, tell them what you got. Okay, there we are. Check them out. First one is not because it does not have a common difference. Second one is because it has a constant difference of -3. The third one is, it has a constant difference of 2/10. And the fourth one is not, does not have a constant difference. Okay, so first thing is being able to recognize them. Just kind of what we've been doing the last couple days. All right, questions on those? Okay, I want you to take a look at 5 and 6. It says write a rule for the nth term of the sequence. Now recall, this is a sequence, this is not a series. Okay, so when you go back to your formula page on page 223, are we using that formula or that formula? Top one or bottom one? Top. It is the rule for the sequence. This is a rule for a series. Remember, when you're finding the sum, it's a series. Otherwise, it's a sequence. Okay? So using your rule, I want you to complete numbers 5, and let's start with 5 and 6. Make sure we're getting it correct. Okay? 5 and 6, and then find a sub 20. It's kind of hard to read that, but it says a sub 20. Okay, in order to write the rule, you have to know two things, actually. Actually, you need to know a couple things. Okay, depending upon what they give you. In this case, they give you a sub 1. And they give you, what's the other thing they give you? Yeah, they give you D, right? Or you could at least calculate D. What is D? 6. You're adding 6 every time. So as you plug those pieces in, a sub 1 is 3 plus n minus 1 times 6. Now, they won't always give you both of those pieces. Sometimes they'll tell you n, or they may give you, well, we'll see it on the next page here. But okay, we've got 3 plus 6n minus 6 if we distribute, which gives us 6n minus 3. Okay, and once we know that, we could then plug in 20 for n. Get a sub 20 is equal to 6 times 20 minus 3. What's up, Zach? That's 120 minus 3, or 117. Okay? How many got it? All right. How many have number 6? Okay. Give number 6, 7, and 8 a go. I'll be walking around if you need help. All right. There's number 6. Okay. Number 7. All right, we still got people working on 8 there. All right, and the last one there. Okay, hey, any questions? Okay, so what were the two things we needed to write the equation? D and a sub 1. Okay, that is going to be a common theme as we move to the more difficult stuff now. Okay, any questions there? All right, next page. I want to skip 19 for a minute. We'll come back to that one. But number 10. Write a rule for the nth term of the sequence. So same idea. It's sequence, right? Write a rule for the nth term. Go and talk to your neighbor how you're going to do it. Okay, any ideas? Autumn? It's a good thought there. So you're finding the difference between these two and dividing it by the difference between this. What will that tell you? That will give you D. Okay, I want to try that here in a minute, okay? Keep that. That's a really good thought on. All right? What are the two things we need? A sub 1 and D. We need to know those two things. Right now, they don't give us either of them. Autumn's saying that we can find D by subtracting here. We have 40, right? A difference of 40 over 13 minus 8, which would be 5. So she's saying our difference then would be 8. Okay? Now I want to see if that works here. I'm going to go through a different process with you. Let's keep that in the back of our mind and see if we can use that, okay? I want to go through a bit of a different process. I want to go ahead and plug these in. We're going to make a system out of them. Okay, so we know that a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Okay? They give us a value. They say a sub 8 is equal to 59. That means n here is what? 8. And what's this? That's a sub n. So we could rewrite this. This is an a sub n. So 59 is equal to a sub 1 plus 8 minus 1 times d. Okay? Now we're going to have two variables here. They look different, especially this one. This is a variable, and that's a variable. They represent the same sequence. So we can do that for that, and then we can do it also for this piece of data. So everyone write what this piece of data would be. Okay, that piece of data is 99 equals okay. So now if we go through and we were to simplify these, what's this simplify to? Good, yeah, it becomes 7d. So you get a sub 1 plus 7d. And we simplify this, we get 99 equals a sub 1 plus 12d. All right, this is now a system. And you can solve that system by subtracting or adding the opposites, right? If we add these two things together, if we add the opposite of this, right, solving systems, these two pieces cancel out. I'm left with, what's this? Yeah, technically negative 40, right? Equals negative 5d. Does anyone recognize that? Come on, where did we get that? Where was this just a minute ago? That was up here, right? Who suggested that? Autumn. That is so much faster, correct? Now, you may go, well, why do you do it that way then, McCoy? And there's two reasons. One is it gives you practice with systems, which really isn't the main reason. The reason that I show it like that is because your textbook will go through this process. This is what your textbook did. Okay? That's the method they do. Now, I quite honestly think it's quicker to find D that way. Very good method. Good job. Okay? So, I don't care which method you use. I know which one I would use, but I don't care which one you use. Okay? D is 8, no matter which way you go about it. Now, if that's being said, so if I'm saying I need a sub 1 and D, I still don't know what a sub 1 is. How do I find that? Talk about it real quick. How could you find a sub 1?
Plug in the 8 for D.
Okay, volunteer, how could I do it? Emily. Yeah, you could plug the 8 into one of these two equations. So if you were to use this method, you at some point would at least have to go to one of these equations and write it out and plug in the 8 for the d. So, for instance, if you said, hey, I'm going to go this route because it's faster, okay, that's fine. Just make sure you can write out 59 equals a sub 1 plus 8 minus 1 times d, and you can get that information from here, and then you can put in 8 for d. So we substitute that 8 in right there for that d, okay, and you get 59 equals a sub 1 plus 56. A sub 1 then is 3, which we now can write our equation. The equation becomes okay. Very good? All right. Okay, we are going to skip number 12. We are going to skip number 9 right now. We will work through those later. Number 11, I will let you do on your own at your own time if you'd like. I'm not too worried about it right now. You're going to get some practice with that. Any questions?